When the temple stood in Jerusalem, the Beit HaMikdash, thousands of pilgrims would flock there 3 times a year to celebrate the festivals, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. And even then, just like our very own Krieger lobby, our ancestors had a system to move everyone in and out of the temple. The Mishnah Midot tells us that all who entered the Temple Mount entered by the right and went around and went out by the left, except for one to whom something had happened. That person entered and went around from the left. And people would ask that person as they passed, "Why do you go around to the left?" If he answered that he was a mourner, they would say to him, "May the one who dwells in this house comfort you." If he answered, "Because I am an outcast," they said, "May the one who dwells in this house draw you near again." So basically, we have a flood of people walking together in one direction, and occasionally, someone would be walking upstream in the other direction. That was a cue for others to ask why they were going the other way, and an opportunity for that individual to share what had happened to them, what misfortune had befallen them, what loss they had experienced. And the Mishnah tells us that the responsibility of the community is to respond with words of comfort and support. What a powerful image. It is also a reminder that since our earliest days, an important responsibility of our Jewish community has been to provide care for those who have experienced a loss. How much more important is that today, in a time when the epidemic of isolation and loneliness has ravaged our society? In a time where we strive for connection and meaningful relationships? That is the purpose of our presence here today. We show up for one another in times of challenge and loss, and we share our pain just as we share our joy, because Washington Hebrew Congregation is a community of the heart. Far too often in our society, the needs of the individual supersede the needs of the community, and vice versa. But Judaism has always bucked that trend. In a country that prides itself on the idea of rugged individualism, Judaism's focus on community is countercultural. Showing up at times of celebration and at times of sorrow are what weave us together as a community. We share the highest heights and the deepest depths, and showing up is what binds us to one another. We know we can depend on each other to be there, to share in all of life's sacred moments. The Talmud, Baba Metzia 30b, teaches that one who visits a sick person takes away 1/60th of their illness. The idea is that when someone is sick, they are feeling isolated and alone. When we visit them, the person is reminded that they are still part of the community. This helps to reduce or lighten the sick person's suffering. And while that teaching applies to those who lie on beds of illness, we know that loss of a loved one creates a similar need to feel supported and loved. Take a moment to look around the sanctuary and to see those who are here with you at this moment. Those here at this moment are here because we share something. Each of us has experienced a loss. That loss may have happened recently, many years ago, or sometime in between. No matter the amount of time that has passed, in this moment of memory and honor, the pain of loss remains with us. Yizkor brings us back to memory. We let ourselves sit amidst the powerful memories of those with whom we have lived our lives, those who gave us life, or perhaps those with whose legacy we still wrestle, or those whose love continues to nurture us. Sometimes it is possible for us to see aspects of their lives we never saw when we actually shared it with them. Sometimes the eye of memory sees things more clearly than can be seen in life itself. The gift of Yizkor, the gift of remembering, is that sometimes things are seen more accurately in their reflection than in looking at them directly. Yizkor is brief. Following a few prayers, we are left with moments of silence to think about those who are closest to us. These silent moments are an opportunity to take a journey into the hearts of our loved ones, We can imagine seeing them again and think of what we might say. Perhaps it is to say thank you, or to introduce them to someone they never met who has become important to you, or to show them the changes in your life, or simply to say, I love you and miss you so very deeply. Yizkor is our time to connect with our loved ones. We do so surrounded by others who are doing the exact same thing. It is human nature to hold on as long as we can to that which we cherish. However, even when we must take leave of one another, we can still retain that which is significant, lasting, and precious. For God has given us the ability and power to remember. Memory is a faculty which enables us to make the past a present reality and to keep alive the challenges we have overcome, the joys we have experienced, the sorrows we have faced through the years that we were privileged to share with our loved ones who are no longer physically with us. When we turn to our festival of Sukkot in just a few days, we will read familiar words from the book of Ecclesiastes that reflect on the fleeting nature of time and the fragility of human existence. It focuses on the perpetual cycle and continuation of life's experiences. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die. And those words go on, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Peace, so difficult to find in the wake of the loss of a loved one. Yet Judaism teaches that we must pursue peace. From the moment we leave the graveside, we are directed, even urged, to go forward in peace, to life. We don't give up or abandon our responsibilities. Rather, Judaism encourages us to pursue our appointed tasks with all of the energy and enthusiasm that will bring honor to the memory of those who came before us. Many of us have experienced this. At the end of the period of Shiva, we go back to our normal, everyday lives, even though for us as mourners, it is a new and different normal. And while this is certainly true of the mourners, it is also true of those who walk beside us, who accompany us through the valley of shadows and make sure that we enter back into the everyday. And we, as your clergy of Washington Hebrew Congregation, are honored to walk beside you and your loved ones in your time of loss. And we have felt firsthand the power of showing up when we have experienced personal losses, as some of us have this year. This summer, I was one of those who stood with and accompanied the mourners when my mother-in-law Beverly died at the beginning of June. Even if not direct mourners according to tradition, spouses, extended relatives, different generations, friends, all accompany and walk beside the mourners, as I have walked with Michael on this journey, holding space for the pain and loss and moments of memory he encounters along this path. His journey has included saying Kaddish for his mother every day, and in order to recite Kaddish, traditionally we need a minyan. We must be in community. At a time when we may be inclined to isolate ourselves, tradition demands that we surround ourselves with others and requires an opportunity not just to share the words of the prayer, but to share the words of the heart, to tell the stories of our loved ones, to ensure that their memories will be a blessing. We go through the motions, fulfill the tasks, we tell stories, we say goodbye, and we part with their things. And my mother-in-law, Beverly, collected plants. At some point when she felt like she was no longer able to contribute physically, cooking, or delivering newsletters to her fellow residents, she began collecting plants. And in fact, over the 10 years she was at Ring House at the Hebrew Home, she transformed her apartment. She obtained a credenza, and it was a very large credenza, on which she could show her many, many, many plants, and moved the coffee table over by the window to accommodate her original smaller collection. There were far more plants than we could realistically house or care for, And so Michael set up a table outside our home during Shiva. And we placed all of the plants there and invited friends to take a piece of Beverly with them to nurture, nourish, and care for, just as she had nurtured, nourished, and cared for so many in her 93 years. And one of the most meaningful and special aspects of this was the friend who showed up and took a plant that had several offshoots and cut and replanted each of those clippings into new pots. She brought them back to us 6 weeks later, providing one for each member of our family to be able to have, ensuring that the plants, along with Beverly's memory, would be enjoyed by the next generation. And this was not the first time we experienced loss, as many of us do. When Michael's father died 13 years ago, he recited Kaddish daily, going to various minyans around DuPont Circle and in Rockville, and it was challenging at times to find a minyan that was both geographically and logistically convenient. But this time, post-COVID, it is a different reality, as we know. Michael's not in his DuPont office every day. He often is in our conveniently located Potomac suburban campus of the Religious Action Center, AKA our former guest room. And B, with the evolution of Zoom, he is able to find nearby online spiritual opportunities to recite Kaddish that also enable him to interact with others. Since his mom's death, he has been saying that Kaddish every day, and while it has not always taken place as part of an official minyan, he has relied on the Jewish community so that he can be surrounded by others when he says it. He's compiled a list of about 30 different Zoom minyans in 4 different time zones. Reform movement congregations across the country host them from Montana to Kansas City, from LA to New York. Some are every day, others 1 or a few times a week. He's been to many different ones. He's been a repeat at a number of them as well, and each time he has been welcomed in by the community. And at other times when there is not a minyan that is convenient, which I know with Zoom you would think that always there's a convenient minyan, but life sometimes happens, or all the time happens. And so at other times he's turned to those around him to create a prayer experience. We sing a song. Michael shares a story about his mom, and then we say the Kaddish prayer. It has occurred in multiple places at various times of day. I have been with him on a number of these occasions. Not only does it allow Michael to fulfill his sense of responsibility to honor his mother in this way, but I've had the privilege to share that moment with him and to express my love for Beverly as we honor her memory together. And each time, it is powerful and moving. Michael recently reflected that, without fail, each time I ask a group of people if they will be my community and allow me to honor my mom by saying Kaddish in a group, they respond positively. Every time, the answer is yes. In addition, people have truly appreciated that invitation. Friends and acquaintances have been grateful for the opportunity to stand by me and provide support. The idea of Jewish community runs deep, especially standing with people in need. Our Mishkan Tefillah for the House of Mourning has a beautiful reading that reminds us of the power of showing up, and reminds us that not only does it comfort the mourner, but these moments transform us as well. So I encourage you in this year, in this time, whether you are remembering someone who was recently taken from you or someone who was taken years ago, to share with another or with a group, to invite people to become that community for you as you honor your loved one's memory, whether on a birthday or a special occasion, or as we did this afternoon, opportunities to share with one another ensures that we will allow those loved ones to remain part of our lives and part of our community, and we honor their memories when we do so. But I particularly love this reading from the House of Mourning prayer book. Still, it is next to impossible to do this alone. We need the loving truth of others to be well. Inevitably, when one is thrust into life, into crisis, into transformation, without notice or instruction, some come with us and are forever changed, while others watch as we are forced out to sea. It is the power of love that enables those who come along, and in truth, a language of experience is unearthed that cannot be translated to those who stay behind. May we continue to accompany each other on our journeys through the valley of the shadow and out to sea with presence, with love, and with compassion. May the memories of all of our loved ones always be for blessing. Zichronam livracha.